Hello guys, glad to have you on board again today. A real quick intraday update out of the weekly update that we've made yesterday. So we have the effective first daily candle closes of that week, and they certainly do not confirm any time of directional moves. So remember that the prism in which we were looking at the market, to avoid diving into shaded gray territory of unreliable financial information or geopolitical turbulences, all of those things are basically unreliable to trade upon on a long-term basis. So I told you, stop listening to the information, look at some charts that will probably make sense of it if anything trustworthy were to come out of these things. So yesterday hasn't given us any information. The gold has been maintaining a bullish course kind of candle, and we have closed above Friday's high points, though we've maintained the weekly gap that we have, even though we still have traded in. So this is not something like everyone is rushing into gold, otherwise we wouldn't have had that lower shadow candle. So things are still neutrally hesitative. It's neutral bullish, of course, high low points, and like we stated, we have a mature range on the lower time frame, meaning that the probabilities to break it were significant. But the probabilities to trade it as, okay, we're breaking though we're bullish, are definitely absolutely voided. You do not break out trade when we are in the middle of a range. So we have upside potential to exploit. What matters for us is how fast we do it. Do we use the external Russian or whatever Fed catalyst we could have to eat? And we certainly see that the market isn't rushing. So there is no rush. There is no external catalyst pushing prices further. So in that perspective, it definitely looks like it was yet another absolutely boring narrative to just make people talk, make some people trade, but the actual smart money, they haven't moved. Otherwise, we would see that in the money. Okay, so they're still following the course of the existing probabilities, technical probabilities, but they certainly not rush to the exit door by buying a lot of gold and selling all of the riskiest assets, because Apple has gone to the opposite direction. Okay, gold has gone up, but Apple as well. Apple is still closing below, with a negative candle, but this one has closed a gap and all of these things. So we're still deteriorating prices, but it's not the end of the world. Okay, understand that Apple is, for now, still holding to this intermediate support. The next and major support is this one, as long as prices are above 160 on a daily candle close basis, but they are still failing to close above 176, well, there's nothing to talk about. So where are we? Right in the middle of it. So, of course, expect Apple to be freakingly noisy within the next few days and weeks until we finally get a direction. Just like there is a clear path of direction for the gold. The reason why I told you to look at those two assets particularly is because I think they have clear and neat midterm directions. Downturn to Apple, uptrend for gold, but what matters to me is the indecision that we see on their tradable structures, because they can heavily be influenced if some external catalyst were to push prices faster. What we can see out of yesterday is that the planets do not align, so there is no such a thing as a truly believed narrative out of the smart money. The smart money keeps playing the same old hesitative game, meaning that they don't pay attention to information. Okay? So keep looking at it on a day-to-day basis. If you see at some point gold surging to the upside and Apple surging to the downside, that must be the sign that something is going on. So without even looking at the information itself, you would be able to know that something relevant is actually occurring. Otherwise, stupid day-to-day noise for those who pay attention to these news. That's what you should do, okay? Look at the prices, put some perspectives, and once these perspectives do not trigger, you know that there's nothing really relevant happening. Okay, out of this, I would like to send a couple of words out there talking about the educational content, because it has made a bit of a problem with the French community, so I'd like to avoid the same stuff with the English ones. So just a few explanation on the current series that we have about assets, because I have released an analysis of our AVAX, which is a project that I've always tended for. I don't like, but the French guys have voted for it, so I had to analyze it. but basically I will not do it for the English community, so don't be mad at me, okay? It's not that I'm hiding some things from you. It's just pure and simply the fact that I do not like to study assets that I don't trade. And I can make mistakes, okay? But understand that anyhow and anyway, I am some kind of your teacher, meaning that I have my own vision, I have my own prisms of, in this thing, I have my own biases, but you should never ever take that as an accounted stuff, okay? You do not trade due to my own personal visions and biases. But I will never ever study stuff that I don't trade. This is a line that I will never cross because I am not a fucking analyst. I do not put out analysis out there. I put out educational content based on my personal decisions, but you should never get influenced by them, okay? So I just wanted to set that one real clear out loud so that we do not have the same bullshit that has been happening with the French community in the Discord recently, okay? So this is a non-exhaustive type of analysis. What matters is that I spread out the knowledge with all of the intermediate topics that I will study on each and every of these assets. And so far we have covered link and we have covered the Cosmos ecosystem as well as atom positioning into this. And we've always followed the same path. We have studied the initial Genesis supply. We've studied and measured how much money has been raised by the private sales and the distribution of it. We've also analyzed how the token supply has been evolving over time till today, how much the teams have been selling out of their coins and all of these things. Okay, we have studied the business model that had led us to the way we are today because we've studied the top 10 assets. So basically, if they are in the top 10, that means they have produced growth to get there. So we've studied what that growth were based upon, so what the basic standard business model were to date, and we've also assessed what the likeliest changes will be by either looking at the roadmap or the expectable changes that these blockchains must provide in order to provide new growth. Remember that if we want to trend on a weekly basis, we need new growth support. We simply cannot play the same game over and over again. The market is evolving, and therefore these projects have to do it as well. So this is what we've done, okay? The basic study, supply, distribution, evolution, growth till today, expected further down the road growth, and what it could provide through price action to confirm that this growth is actually traded. Okay, that's the analysis that we've done. Though we've done it for Link, we've done it for Cosmos, I've already done it multiple times for ETH and Bitcoin, okay? And next in the line is going to be Solana, but I have decided today that I will include Binance because Binance has had an interesting thing. I actually kind of forgot about this asset for a little while. I'll still have it in the portfolio. It was just sitting down there, but I just figured out today that, boy, this asset is one of the rarest that never broke below the September's latest supports, intermediate support. That's the same support that has been very psychologically impactful, broken on Bitcoin, and same goes for ETH. But I actually kind of figured out that in my mind, BNB had broken this one as well, but it actually did not. And it kind of stood out. So BNB was kind of a question on my head, whether I would have to cover this one or not in this series, educational series about how to assess the probabilities and the business model of these assets and what are their tokenomics, okay, their consensus model economical applies. But in that perspective, well, BNB definitely has to be in that list. So this is a non-exhaustive list, meaning that probably some other prospects and projects, grade 1 projects like Polkadot, Matic, all of these things, and definitely AVAX as well, would definitely deserve their own video into the series. I will not cover them, okay? Because I do not trade them, and I have my own reasons, but I don't want to influence, okay? So if you, for some reasons, do trade AVAX, Polkadot, or all of these other assets, well, feel free to just copy the analysis perspective to do your own, okay? What matters in that series is not the asset that I picked as an example, okay? But to understand that I've done this in a purpose, in a general purpose that you'll see right at the end. Because once we've terminated with Solana, and then BNB. Okay, so 2 podcasts left in this series of educational content. Then we'll make a sum up, okay, in which we'll build some kind of a table in which we'll list all of the assets that I have studied, and you can of course feel free to add yours that I will not cover, but you can do the same job. Okay, and we'll see how they differentiate each other in terms of initial distribution, how much fund they've raised, how much did they spend until then, okay, how much user growth they have, what led us to the way they are today, okay, how much growth is to be expected if they succeed transitioning, and all of these things, okay? And we'll study all of these things, and you will see that this table plots a very, very different way to trade all of these assets, okay? That they will likely produce different type of price action, because depending on the tokenomics and the token report and the token spreading and the expected way of them of shifting their growth to the next cycle, will produce totally different types of price action. This is the conclusion I will like to get to, so please give me the amount of time I need to fully prepare for it by scrolling at each individual asset to list their initial token distribution, how much fund they've raised, how that money has been used so far, what is the token distribution today, okay, how did we get to the prices we are in today, what are the technical price structure, and what's next possibly to come depending on the roadmap that these assets have been publishing for 2022, okay? So don't do the same mistakes that the French guys are doing now, saying that I don't like AVAX or I don't like this and this. I don't give a fuck, okay? I trade what I trade, and this is none of your business. I simply do not want to talk about the assets that I don't trade, okay? This is an ethical line that I will never cross. I talk about the things that I trade. That means I may make some mistakes by not trading assets that you do trade, or not trading assets that might have very interesting topics or perspectives. Understand that this is a line that I have to draw. It is not perfect, but I am your teacher. God damn it. I am not your guru or whatever thing that is. You do not trade out of what I say. Take the educational content. I hope you guys have listened to this and understood what perspective I have with you guys, okay? I am a teacher, not a perfect person. I do make mistakes, I do make my personal choices, and if you ever intend to judge me on this, you will not be welcomed in here, okay? No one has the right to judge me. I'm your fucking teacher. You need to respect what I do, take the best of what I have to offer. Everything is fucking shared for free, so I still do not understand why some people find their way into criticizing something that is for fucking free. Do not like it? Feel free to leave. No one is retaining anyone in here. Everyone is free to come in and out as they want, okay? So no personal judgments in here. I trade my own shit, none of your business, and I will use my own shit to put out some educational content. So if you disagree with me, make your own analysis, okay? Do your own research. I am not a financial advisor, and this is really a dangerous line that some people do cross in the French community. I hope you guys will be spotted in them. That being said, next in line, Solana, BNB, and then a final review in which we'll compare each and every one to their business model, their expectable next transition, and therefore next business model, and what it is very likely going to create in terms of price action. So you'll have a clearer vision of the next weekly cycle I provide for these things. Okay? Though I hope you take the best out of it, not the worst. Do not waste your time criticizing or whatever. Okay? If you don't like the job, just leave. No one is forcing you in. Bye, guys.